Welcome back to the Basement Gun Shop. So you've probably already noticed there's a lot of color on the bench behind me. And why 3 rifles out on the bench at one time? Because I thought I'd take an opportunity to do a little review of some Nikon sport optics that I have in-house. Directly behind me right here is Don's M&P 1522. This has a Nikon P223 fixed 3 power scope on it. This is Daniel's, Don's oldest boy, his M&P 1522. This has a Nikon P22 2-to-7 power variable on it, variable scope. And this one in the back right here is my Smith & Wesson M&P 10 with the Nikon M308 scope. First off, let me just start this off by saying how impressed I am with this family of optics. They are extremely reasonably priced, rugged, accurate, crystal clear. I've had mine on my M&P 1522 for over a year now. That's also a P223 with the bullet drop compensator reticle, same as this one right here. And I'll dig up some pictures of those reticles off the Nikon website, and I'll post those reticles up so that you can see what I'm talking about. Yes, the P223 is specifically made for the 223 round, or the 5.56. The reason I put the 223 scope on here is simply because it's shorter and I think it looks better. This one is on a riser because that just works better for Dawn with her getting a cheek weld on the stock and shooting with the scope. Mine does not have a riser. Daniel's has a riser. The risers were purchased separately. They're not Nikons or anything specific. They did not come, the P22 and the P223 did not come with rings. The M308 came with the rings and the mount. Price point, I believe the P223, this short little fixed 3 right here, was in the $149 range, $169 range, somewhere in there. This one was $129, the P22 2-to-7 variable. I believe it was in the $129, $139 range. The M308, it's a little pricier, but it's a beefier scope. It's a 4-to-16 variable with Nikon's BDC 800 reticle, bullet drop compensator 800 reticle. So that'll work out to almost 800 yards if you want to shoot that far. And that was in the 549 range, somewhere around there, between 500 and 550. The P223 and the P22 were purchased at my local gun shop. The M308, that was ordered online from Cabela's. I prefer to keep my business local when I can, but you know, it depends on how fast I want something. Where I go, if the local shop has it, and 90% of the time they do, I get it there. So let's get down to the scopes. They all have sniper turrets, click adjustable. You can re-zero the turret by simply pulling it up, turning it back to 0, and setting it back down. So once you're zeroed at a certain distance, say, like I know Dawn's scope is 0 to 25 yards. So if you have the calculations in your head for how many clicks per MOA out to 100 yards from 25, you can return right back to that point of 0. Daniel's scope is the same way. They are all diopter adjustable. In other words, you turn the eyepiece to focus it for your eye. The M308 is also parallax adjustable. That's this turret here on the left side of the scope. So you can adjust it to what range you're shooting at, whether it's 50, 100, 200, 300, 400, or infinite. You can take the parallax out of there and shoot true. If you watched the review I just did the other day from the range, this was one of the guns I was shooting to really get that scope fine-tuned. And at 200 yards with factory ammo, untested in that gun, for any kind of real accuracy other than just taking it out and banging away for fun, it was shooting reasonably well. I am absolutely positive I could fine-tune that gun with a custom reload for it and shoot sub-MOA groups out to at least 600 yards with that scope and with that gun. So, I don't want you thinking after the last gear review that the Nikon Sport Optics I have on the M&P 10 is like an anomaly. I do have a number of them, 4 total, 2 P223s. Oh, you know what? I'll be right back. Okay, so I said I owned 4. I said there were 4 in the house. I lied. There's 5. This is the Nikon P223 3:9 variable power scope, also with the bullet drop compensator reticle on my Mini 14. So there's actually 5 of these scopes out there, and I believe this one was in the 179 range. So I have to say that I have never in the year and a half, about a year and a half, that I've been using this specific line of Nikon Sport Optics on my rifles. I have never had a problem with them holding or maintaining zero. I've never had one bump off of zero when transporting it to or from the range. The only time I've had to re-zero it is when I remove it from the gun for cleaning. Because you've heard me say a number of times, I'm one of those truly strange people who loves to clean his guns. I love to tear them apart, clean them up, put them back together, you know, that whole chestnut. So I do remove the scopes from time to time to really go over the gun and make sure it's clean. And then of course when I put it back on, even though they're, you know, Picatinny rail mounts and, you know, put them all back in the same spot, there's still a little variance, so I have to re-zero them. That's the only time I've ever had one of these scopes not maintain a zero. So that's just a few words about the Nikon P223 scopes in both fixed 3 and 3:9 variable, the P22 scope 2 to 7 variable, and the M308 with the BDC 800 reticle, which is a 4 to 16 power variable power. They're all from Nikon. They're real hard to find on the Nikon website, to tell you the truth. But for the price point, I will say that I feel they are outstanding scopes. They really do what they need to do, and I was very impressed. The first time I picked one up, I was very impressed with the crystal clear image that I got through that scope. And that was pretty much what prompted me to buy it and then put it on the gun and run it through its paces. So I personally, I will buy more. If I have another rifle I want to put a scope on, I will be looking at Nikon very seriously in the future for even more optics. Hopefully they keep this line going. So that's all for this edition of the Basement Gun Shop. If you have any comments or questions, as always, I encourage you, please leave them below in the comments section, and I will get back to you. If you like the channel, like it, subscribe, even better. And until next time, stay safe and keep shooting.